Welcome to the Autism in Black podcast. I am your host, Maria Davis-Pierre, licensed mental health counselor and the CEO of Autism in Black, Inc. Today's guest is Catina Jenkins, a powerful TEDx speaker, passionate autism advocate, and the founder and principal consultant at Catina Speaks. Through her work, Catina helps organizations not just talk about inclusion, but practice it, building workplaces that actually support growth, equity, and belonging. Catina's TEDx talk, Finding Community When You Need It Most, draws from her personal journey as a mother advocating for her autistic son. Her message centers on the power of connection, authenticity, and creating spaces where everyone feels seen and supported. At Catina Speaks, she partners with companies to design learning and leadership strategies that turn nice ideas into real, measurable impact. And if you've ever heard her speak, you know that she brings it all: wisdom, energy, and just the right amount of sass to every conversation. Enjoy today's episode with me and Catina. Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Autism in Black show. I'm very excited for today's conversation. We are going to get into some good stuff over here today. So, welcome, Catina.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, you've worn many hats: TEDx speaker, advocate, leadership consultant, and of course, mom. Tell us a little bit about your journey, what led you to this powerful intersection of autism advocacy, leadership, and community building.
Wow. Well, look how much time you got.
We
Because
got
it has been a journey. It has been a journey. I am the proud mother of a 17-year-old son. His name is Glenn, and he is such a joy and has taught me so much about being just a time. Proud mom of a child with special needs. And Glenn he was born so early. He was born at 25 weeks and he stayed in the NICU for almost 100 days. And so at the time, his dad and I, we were married and we were just so protective of him. We hardly let anyone watch him. It was just all about he and I. So we tag teamed everything and made sure that Glenn had all of his therapist appointments, doctor's appointments, everything was just on deck. And we did that for many, many years. And so after 12 years, Big Glenn and I, we divorced, but still were very, very involved in Lil Glenn's life. And by this time, he had been diagnosed with autism, diagnosed by like the Cadillac of doctors to diagnose kids. And so, we were just on this journey, like, all right, well, it is what it is. So this is the hand we've been dealt, and we're going to win. By all means, we're going to win. And fast forward, Big Glenn and I divorced, and then he suddenly passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I the bottom from under me just dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what I was going to do, how I was going to do it because we were each other's support.
Yeah.
We were all about family. We had a very strong family and very protective of little Glenn. And I had no idea what I was going to do, who was going to help me with him. Because as our kids have certain mannerisms and certain behaviors and you watching people watch him and then you want to say something like, oh, is he cute to you? That's why you looking at him. You know, and so I was just really scared, nervous, afraid, and I've always had a plan B. And the plan B has never been enforcing plan A, right? I've always had a plan B for what was going to happen with my child. And after that unfortunate incident, I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I started listening to my village. And my village, not just being, my homegirls or, people that I go to church with, but really listening to people that I feel that God has brought into my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just meeting people on accident. I mean, we all don't believe in accidents, right? We know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So when different people come into my life, being open,
Yeah.
being humble, being accepting of people saying like, girl, you what you need, I got you. And any other time if someone says, like, what you need, the immediate answer is nothing, I'm okay, girl, pray for me, I'm good.
Exactly.
Right.
Ugh,
But I just started to just be open because I was at ground zero, and that is not a good place to be.
it's not. It's not. So many gems dropped in there. One, my condolences to you because grief is, nothing to play with. And
Hmm.
like you, Autism in Black is built very much on community. That is what we're support circles, support systems. We got each other. You're not in this alone. And I know one of your core messages is you don't have to carry life's challenges alone. Can you share what building your own village has looked like? Because I think for some people, they don't know how to build their village, their community, especially when they may not have family support, or they may be isolated and not have friends who will understand. Can you walk us through what building your own village has looked like?
Oh, that's such a good question. And building your village, first of all, realizing that you need a village
Mm,
because we have been taught that the only person that you need
mm,
is the people that are like right in front of you,
yes.
or you go pray about it. And yes, we absolutely go and pray about it. And then I feel that God sends us, those individuals that we need. It may be talking to other parents at school. It may be talking to your child's therapist, or their teachers. Uh, there are there have always been people that have said, "Hey, do you need me to watch him at all? Or do you need me to pick something up for you at the store?" Or they know some of his favorite foods, and if they're in the drive-through at that time, they'll call me and say, "Girl, does Glenn want some French fries, or does he want this or that?" And I'll say yes.
Hmm.
So different individuals that have come my way that have offered,
Yeah.
I have said yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
And obviously, you have that spirit of discernment, you have that intuition, so you know who you're saying yes to and then who you shouldn't say
Yeah.
yes to.
Yes.
Knock on wood, I've had wonderful experiences. And when people offer to help me, I've accepted. And I've also offered to help them, and they've accepted. So, it's just, you're helping me, I'm helping you, so it's reciprocal.
Mhm. That is so important, especially for the Black community, especially for Black women, because we know the stigmas of being a Black woman and having to be strong and having to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Y'all know how I feel about that whole
Mm,
scenario. And no, it's not a
mhm,
sign of weakness to ask for help. It's not a sign for
mhm.
weakness to um, need help. I see it as a sign of strength to be able to ask somebody. Why do you think it's so hard for us, as caregivers, as parents, especially in the Black community, to ask for and receive help?
Mhm. Because of how we were taught.
Hmm. Hmm.
We never, ever asked anyone for help. Because when you ask people for help, that is giving other people a window. into what's going on in your house.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
well, why is it that you need help? Why can't you handle it yourself? Right? And one thing that my mom used to always say, and I have older parents. My dad is actually 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
Right. So I have older parents. So I was born and raised like backwater old school. Right. And my mom used to always say, "You better not tell our business outside this house. I wish you would. Go ahead and try it." You know, so, if we go to church or go to any, extracurricular activities, it was a prim and proper stance that
Mm-hmm.
you had to have.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you spoke had to be very positive, to show that you didn't have anything, boiling underneath. But everybody know that everybody household got something.
Something, something. And
Hmm.
my family, that sounds very much like my grandmother. And it sounded a little bit like my mother, but then I became a therapist, and that messaging started to shift a little bit
Right.
in our home because I'm like, hey, no, people tell me their business. I want them to tell me their business. So, we kind of breaking generational circles over here. But it is a
Hmm.
common theme within Black families. No, you better get on your knees and pray to the Lord about that. You better not tell nobody my business. They don't need to
Right.
know what goes on in here. We don't invite others to know what's going on in here. And you're right, that has
Exactly.
so much in played and incorporated to how we navigate that it has
Hmm.
created a system of isolation, especially for those of us who are raising autistic children, children with disabilities, because it's like, well, I don't want
Hmm.
you to know what I got going on in here. And then that shame
Hmm.
and frustration and all those feelings start to build up. But what would you say to Black moms, especially, who feel they have to do everything alone to be seen as strong and not invite those outsiders in?
I would tell them, you do not have to struggle.
Mm,
It's enough struggle out here in the real world being Black in America,
mm,
being a Black woman. That's struggle right there.
mm,
Enough. And you don't have to just voluntarily add to your struggle if you don't have to. There are so many people in our community that are willing to help, but a lot of people just don't have the language to say, "Can I help you?"
mm.
You may need to say, like, "Hey, would you be interested in helping me with X, Y, and Z?" You never know. Asking people to help you, offering help, it will definitely assist you in the long run. And it's not cute no more.
Mhm.
This idea of struggling, you don't have to when you can open up your home, open up your world to allow other people to learn about autism, to learn about different behaviors, and he not just being a bad kid.
Mm,
He actually is overstimulated, and everything that's going on is too much for him to take in. So
mhm,
don't automatically think I don't have control over my son because I know what it is.
mhm.
But be open to learning something new. And by opening up your home, opening up your most prized possession, your child, you're giving other people a chance to learn
I-
from him. And when you think about it, when my son was diagnosed, the ratio was like 1 in 150. The ratio now is what, like 1 in 35?
I think, or might be a little less than might be in the 20s now. I have to check, but yeah, it's even much different from when our oldest was diagnosed. It was like 1 in 96 when she got her
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis, and now it's like no. And I know people are going to be like, oh, it's you know everybody's getting no. People are just getting accurately diagnosed, especially in the Black
Exactly.
community, because you probably had that Uncle Ray Ray who was in his room and people were like, oh, Uncle Ray Ray is just weird and we don't mess with Uncle Ray Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Probably had
Right.
a diagnosis. So it's just people are getting
Exactly.
their accurate diagnosis now. There is no
Mm-hmm.
widespread, everybody's getting an autism diagnosis. I won't get on my soapbox right now, y'all, but I just wanted to throw that in there because I know somebody might listen
Mm-hmm.
to this and be like, oh my God, it's a pandemic of people getting, no, people are just getting accurately assessed and getting the diagnoses that they should have, because getting an autism diagnosis is extremely difficult. They're just not handing them
Mm-hmm.
out. So I'm going to get off my soapbox.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you have to, fight and scream and kick to get the diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then after you do that, there's a whole nother situation that you have to go through so that you can get the help
Mm-hmm.
that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like stop it and cut it out.
Exactly. And I know parents listening can relate. And you know my story. You know what we had to go through to get the diagnosis for our oldest. It is
Mm-hmm.
not an easy process, especially for our community. I want to
Mm-hmm.
switch over and talk a little bit about your TEDx talk, because your TEDx talk focuses on finding community when you need it most. How has grace, both giving it and receiving it, sustained you in advocacy, in motherhood, in personal business?
You know, when people say you never know what goes on behind closed doors, you don't. You
Hmm.
don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know what people experience. You don't know what people think about. You don't know the tears that people cry. You don't know just the void that people experience. And there are so many people that have to put on a positive face and a beautiful smile because that's just what we have to do. But it's still important to realize that people are still human. Now I know with Black Girl Magic, people just think that we're just not human anymore. We can just take it all in and nothing affects us at all. And that is so far from the truth. You know, it is very important to be kind to people, to be open to people, to
Hmm.
offer that grace, to let people have a bad day. Everybody has a bad day. And that doesn't mean that they should be shunned or talked about or downed because they just weren't in that mood
Hmm.
that day. And many times when I felt some type of way regarding a response I may have received from someone, later on they'll say, "Girl, thank you for that because I just had an uncomfortable conversation with someone," or "I just had, something happen at my child's school that I didn't appreciate," or whatever it may be. Everyone deserves that amount of grace.
They do.
And because of all the grace that people have given me, especially the grace that God gives us,
Mhm.
it's our job and it's our responsibility to be kind to ourselves and to be kind to other people.
I love that, because I know I'm always extending grace, and I'm always saying that we even need to extend it to, and we should not even, we should be extending it to our children as well, because to expect them to operate as adults and emotionally regulate and things of that nature when it's hard for adults to do so is just stop
Hmm.
the nonsense. So extending that grace is so important, because you're right, people are going to have bad days. I have bad
Hmm.
days, my kids have bad days. People are
Hmm.
going to have them, and expecting perfection from people is always going to leave you disappointed, right? We have to,
Oh,
yes, because I tell people all, please don't place me on a pedestal, because I'm gonna disappoint you out here, okay? Because I'm gonna do something you may not like or agree with, because I am human and I'm going to do it. So those
hmm.
expectations, bring them down just a little bit for me, but giving that grace is
Right.
so important. And I know you talk about that kindness with it too. Why is
Hmm.
kindness not just a soft trait, but a vital practice for families navigating autism, inclusion, and justice?
Kindness is the foundation.
Mhm.
It really is. Being in this space of having a child with special needs has just taught me so much about deficiencies that other people may have that they may not have talked about or they may not show all the time. And I know I have a trained eye. I have an idea if someone, has something going on, and being kind and being open is the grace
Yeah.
that we are supposed to give each other. As I mentioned, this world that we living in right now is real different
Mm-hmm.
than it was 5, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? I mean, what does it cost you to offer kindness to somebody else? It doesn't cost you anything, but it can make somebody's whole entire day just by being kind. You don't know what the kind word or the kind touch that you give to someone else, how that could affect them even mentally. You just don't know what people going through. So
I love that. I love that. What do you hope for Black families raising autistic children take away from your overall message?
that you don't have to struggle in silence.
Come on.
Asking for help, being open to help, being open to building a village, structuring a village, it is a strength. I mean, we wear capes. Like we're all super women, but you don't have to struggle in the midst of wearing your cape. You just don't have to. And this whole, strong, independent Black woman, all right, we're gonna see how that work out for you,
Mhm. Don't
later on.
expect me to be that because I don't want it. Take that one.
I
Lord.
don't want
I don't.
it. Look, take
I,
it down there where you got it from and let it stay. Because I am
exactly.
not wearing that hat.
I love what you said about why would you voluntarily sign up for struggle, because that's what it is. I I don't want any kind of struggle. I don't want struggle love. I don't want, struggle finance. I don't want any of that, right? So why am I inviting that when it's, especially if I have a community, if I have a village of people that I can lean on, why would I rather struggle in isolation when I can rely on my village and community? And I love that you said that. Like, I don't want to voluntarily bring that in my life.
And there are so many people out there that have offered to help you, and I bet you cash money. People will say, "No, I'm good. I don't need no help. I'm all right. I'm all right." What
Mhm.
if you took them up on it
Mhm.
and it became something that was regular? Now, this is just with one person. What if you took that up with two people or three people? Imagine how much comfortable your life would be
Mhm.
if you allow other people to kind of help you do things so that you can go out and refill and recharge so that you can come back, because you can't pour from a cup that's empty.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You can't.
You cannot.
So
Mm-mm. I'm
I don't
all
subscribe to that at all.
No, I'm all about people getting my overflow. I want my cup to be overflowing, and then you get the overflow because I want to make sure that, because
Hmm.
parenting is hard. Working in whatever industry you're working in is hard. Navigating
Hmm.
this society as a Black person is hard, and if we don't have support circles and outlets, that frustration, that anger, that
Hmm.
all builds, and that stress built. So I love
Hmm.
that, that you highlight that and you say that we're no longer voluntarily signing up for struggle, y'all. We are going to receive and ask for help, and we are going to give and offer help to those as well in our community. So I love that
Right.
you said that. Um,
And you even talked about the kindness. Kindness can also be extended in a smile that
mm,
you see, or a smile that you give another parent in the store whose child is having a meltdown, and you clearly know what a meltdown looks like.
mhm,
Just giving them a smile to let you know, like, sis, I got you. Like, I see you. you
mhm,
know,
mhm,
Offering a helping hand, if you are in the store, saying like, hey, look, I got you. Let me push your cart. Let's go over here, whatever you need. And actually standing there. in support.
Hmm.
Not even doing anything, but just standing there in support. That silent support, just having another person stand there with you, that speaks volumes as well.
You are so right, because a lot of times that shame can get us, especially being a black parent. And if we know
Yes.
our child is overstimulated, maybe having a meltdown, but other people are looking at why you can't get your child together, and that
Mhm.
silent support of that, just knowing that you're not alone in this, can make such a
Yes.
difference for someone. So you're
Yes.
right on that. I love that. Um, as we wrap up, I know that our listeners are going to want to stay connected. How can they, stay connected with your work at Katina Speaks, or where should we be guiding them to connect with you?
So you can go to katinaspeaks.com and you can contact me there. We can set up time to chat. Also at Katina J Speaks on Instagram. I'm not that big into social media. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But I am on Instagram. And because Facebook has 49,000 different sites, I haven't gotten on Facebook because I don't want for Katina Speaks to get lost
Mhm.
in that. But yeah, so Instagram and katinaspeaks.com.
Perfect. And we'll have all of those links in our show notes so you can connect with Katina, because I am certain that you are going to want to after listening to this episode. Katina, thank you so, so much for blessing us with your presence today with this episode, for being vulnerable, for teaching us new things. I want to give you your flowers and thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. And I also want to let you know, I want to give you your flowers right back because what you're doing, this is a movement. It is. And I am so honored to be a part of it. And I hope that we get to collaborate again in the future because you call with it. I see you.
And we got her on tape, y'all. So listen, I'm gonna have to play this back for him. Like, say you said right here that we was gonna collaborate again. So I got it on tape, y'all.
I love it.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening to another episode of the Autism in Black Show. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
All right. Thank you.